Let's be honest, we're all a little obsessed with upgrades these days. But the one upgrade we're really after is for our own minds. We want to be faster, sharper, more creative. But in this race to enhance our brains, we have to stop and ask a really important question. Are we actually augmenting our own abilities, or are we just abdicating them to our tools?
And this quote from Maggie Jackson, man, it just hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly captures this tension we're all living with. We're constantly chasing efficiency, but what if the price we pay is, well, a little piece of our own humanity? It's a big idea to hold on to as we dive into the two main ways we're trying to level up our thinking.
And make no mistake, it really is a race. It feels like we're in the middle of this new kind of cognitive arms race. You've got technology on one side, promising us superhuman intelligence, and on the other, this whole movement trying to hack our own biology for unprecedented control. Both are promising that ultimate mental edge. So you've got these two major fronts. First, there's the external approach, right? Using these incredibly powerful AI assistants and algorithms to basically offload all the heavy mental lifting. And then there's the internal approach, using your own personalized genetic data, blood work, and all this tech to biohack your own operating system for peak performance. So let's start with that external front, because this is where we run into a really fascinating and maybe slightly worrying dilemma. The more we outsource our thinking to our tech, the more we have to face this kind of hidden cost. So what exactly is that cost? Well, the core idea here is something researchers call cognitive offloading. It's a fancy term, but all it really means is our growing habit of letting our devices do the thinking that our brains used to handle, from remembering simple facts all the way to making complex decisions.
And this is the perfect example. This comment from a Reddit thread just cuts right through all the academic jargon. It's so simple and so true. Our brains know that phone number is just a tap away, so why bother memorizing it? It's super efficient, of course, but what happens when this starts applying to more than just phone numbers?
This is where it gets really eye-opening. A study looked at how AI affects innovation by having different teams come up with ideas for new toys. Now, the groups that used ChatGPT, they were faster. They generated more ideas per minute. But here's the kicker. They came up with 40% fewer distinct ideas. Their thinking actually became less diverse, all clustering around the same few concepts.
So why does that happen? Well, as another Redditor put it so well, real knowledge isn't just about looking stuff up. It's about taking the time and effort to build this interconnected web of knowledge inside your own head. When we're constantly offloading, we skip that hard work of making connections. We get access to endless facts, but we risk losing the ability to turn those facts into real, genuine insight.
Okay, so let's completely flip the script now. If cognitive offloading is all about outsourcing our brain power, the biohacking movement is the exact opposite. It's about taking direct, radical ownership of our own internal hardware. It's about hacking the human operating system. You know, the whole idea behind biohacking, or the quantified self, is all about agency. It's about not just passively accepting whatever health you get. Biohackers want to actively shape it, and they do this with relentless data collection, creating these personalized feedback loops to guide everything from diet to exercise, often mixing ancient practices like meditation with super modern tools like genetic testing. And this is not about guesswork. It's all about the metrics. Biohackers are constantly tracking things like inflammation markers, key vitamins for brain function like B12, even their hormone levels, all to optimize how they feel and perform. The big idea here is shifting from guessing to knowing. When you have that hard data, you can make targeted changes and actually see the results. It's a truly personal approach to well-being. So we've seen the external tools, and we've seen the internal data hacking, but what about the incredible hardware we were all born with? This brings us to a third path, and maybe the most fundamental one of all, learning to tap into the powerful built-in systems of our own brains and bodies. Let's start with something really simple: exercise. There was this landmark study from UT Southwestern that followed older adults who were already having some memory issues. After just 1 year of regular aerobic exercise, their memory scores shot up by a staggering 47%. I mean, that is a huge gain from something that's available to pretty much everyone.
So how in the world does that work?
Well, it's not magic, it's just mechanics.
The research showed that getting your heart pumping physically increases blood flow to the parts of your brain that are crucial for memory, like the hippocampus. You are literally feeding your brain what it needs to work better, delivering more oxygen and more nutrients to keep those brain cells healthy and firing on all cylinders. But it's not just about our bodies. Our brains have their own hidden superpowers. And one of the most fascinating is a state of consciousness called hypnagogia. You know this feeling? It's that magical, floaty borderland right as you're falling asleep, where your thoughts get all weird and fluid and incredibly creative. Now, for years, this state was almost impossible to really study. But get this, researchers at MIT recently built a device that can tell when you enter hypnagogia and then actually interact with you, feeding you little audio cues to help shape what you dream about. It monitors your brainwaves, and right when you hit that creative sweet spot, it whispers to you. It's wild. And the results were just incredible. The people who were prompted with the theme, in this study it was the word tree, well, in that state scored way, way higher on creativity tests after they woke up, compared to people who just thought about a tree while they were awake. It proves this natural brain state is a seriously powerful and mostly untapped engine for creativity. Okay, so we've looked at these external tools that might be making us a bit lazy, and then we've looked at these amazing built-in systems that can power up our minds from the inside. Which brings us to the big question. Do we really have to choose? Or can we find a way to forge a new kind of partnership, a sort of cognitive handshake between our brains and our machine? Here you can see the two philosophies, side by side. On the left, it's all about external solutions, where the goal is basically to outsource and automate. And on the right, it's about internal cultivation, where the goal is to strengthen and grow our own abilities. The future, I think, isn't about picking one lane. It's about intelligently blending the two. So, how do we actually do that? Well, researchers have some really concrete ideas. First, we can design our tech for a little friction. So instead of an AI giving you one perfect answer, maybe it gives you a few options or a confidence score, forcing you to actually think and evaluate. Second, we can bake in moments for reflection with little prompts that make us stop and ask, wait, why do I think this is true? And finally, we have to consciously practice what you might call onloading, deliberately doing the hard work to build that internal web of knowledge for ourselves. At the end of the day, I think this quote just sums it up perfectly. Leaning on our tools, that's inevitable. They're only going to get more powerful, and of course we're going to use them. But the most important part is that using them doesn't automatically mean our own minds have to get weaker. That part, that's a choice. Which leaves us with this one last big question. As our technology just keeps getting smarter and smarter at this incredible pace, we have to decide how we want to evolve right alongside it. Our tools are definitely getting smarter. The real question we have to answer is, are we?